It's the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
All right, welcome into the Garnet Trust Hour. Chris Clark here inside the studios with you. I am joined by a special guest once again, Spencer Rattler, back in the Heritage Chevy Studios with us. Spencer, how's it going, man?
It's going good. Good, man.
Appreciate you joining us once again. This is probably, I think you are our most common guest, I think, here on the Garnet Trust Hour. This is probably, 3-4 times for you?
Something like that.
So you're a seasoned veteran now. Appreciate you making time. First of all, how you feeling after Saturday?
Feeling good, man. Start of November, it's good to start off with a win. We talk about they remember November, so our goal is to go on this, 4-win streak, and it was good to get a first win under our belt.
For sure, and you hadn't been home in a while, and the other thing is, as Coach Beamer pointed out, it's been a few weeks since y'all been able to talk about a win. So how big was that for you, for the rest of the team, just to be able to, A, come home, B, be able to get a win?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was big. Like you said, unfortunately, haven't gotten a win in a while. That wasn't our goal, being on the road, but obviously, going on the road in hostile environments, going against some of the best defenses in the country while we're on the road. Mm-hmm. The showing, isn't going to be as pretty as you always want it, but, we strive for perfection and have been getting better each week. We're just happy to be back home. Feel like we got an advantage at home with the, fan base and Willie B, so it was good to get that first win.
What was the preparation like heading into Jacksonville State week, to kind of peel back that curtain a little bit? Just Coach Beamer mentioned, I can't remember if it was right after the game or on a Sunday during his teleconference, that he felt like y'all did have a good week of practice. So how was it? Did everybody still seem really engaged? Were things pretty normal in the lead up to the game?
Yeah, pretty normal. Excited to get back home. Obviously the vibe was high. I feel like we've done a good job of staying positive, throughout all this. It was a pretty good week of practice. Obviously getting better at a lot of things, still figuring some things out, which, kind of sounds crazy being in week 9, 10, but hey, we're trying to get to the spot where we want to be. And yeah, it was a good week. So one of the things that we talked about going in is y'all have been, better for whatever reason, at home on offense. I mean, Mississippi State game scored 37 points, 37 against Florida, obviously. And then obviously scored in the 30s in this game as well. Is there anything that you can point to that may be like the difference? I know you mentioned, you're on the road, right? Big hostile crowds, really good defenses that you played. Is it just that, or is it anything else you can put your finger on? I mean, yeah, you're going against Missouri's defense is really good.
Yeah.
Tennessee's defense is really good. Who else was on the road?
Georgia was on the road.
Georgia's on the road. We played really well that game.
Yeah.
National champ, and then North Carolina's defense, coming out, they're really good as well. So, those are 4 good defenses on the road, and, you got to play a clean game to win those games, and, it's tough, when you can't play like you want to, on the road as a group, but, at home, for some reason, we've just been clicking.
Yeah. I'll tell you, one thing that I've noticed about you, and Coach Beamer pointed out, is, this season has obviously not gone, like, from a wins and losses standpoint, how y'all have wanted. I mean, you said it a minute ago, like game 9, sitting here at 3-6, needing, 3 more wins to close out the year. But you've stayed real engaged, really positive. Like, obviously, there have been a lot of injuries. Wide receiver core has not been at full strength. But what do you attribute that to, just like all that positivity you brought, like encouraging young guys, encouraging Tyshawn Russell, when he dropped that pass, encouraging Nick Harbor with the drop pass against A&M, and just like keeping the guys engaged and encouraging? Yeah,
I think that's just something you need to have as a quarterback, no matter if you're undefeated or, winless. You got to be out there, be a leader. Everybody's looking at how you're acting, your team, on TV, everybody's watching. So something for me is just continue to be a leader, continue to stay positive, play my game, control what I can control. And when I need to lift other guys up, lift them up.
How was Coach Beamer mentioned on Saturday that, it was maybe not the type of game that fans or the team or the coaching staff envisioned, because it was a tight game, obviously, like fourth quarter affair, right down to the last Jacksonville drive or Jacksonville State drive where Stone, gets that pick six. But what was the locker room like afterwards? Because he said, hey, y'all were celebrating a win.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good vibe. Obviously haven't won in a few weeks, so it's a good feeling to get a win under your belt. I mean, winning's hard regardless. Shouldn't have been as close of a game, obviously, but, it happens. Guys come into Willie B and give us their best game, I feel like, every time. So we got to be on point. We had a lot to clean up from that game, and, we'll have to get better for these next 3 weeks because these teams are going to be better than what we saw last week.
Yeah. So let's go back to the game and kind of go through some specific things in the game. I know some of these, you addressed on Saturday right after the game, but maybe some didn't catch it, and I want to go in detail on a few more things. So back to the Jacksonville State game, first quarter, I felt like defense gets the stop, right, on the very first drive. I think it was a 3-and-out, got a 3rd-and-1 stop. Y'all get the ball, y'all score a touchdown. Defense gets a couple more stops, but the offense took a little longer to get going, like into the second quarter. What did you see maybe on those first few drives where maybe after that initial touchdown, things didn't get going how you wanted to?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just third down situations. We didn't run the ball good enough at all the whole game. Just got to clean stuff up front in the run game. Just guys getting in gaps and, should have had explosive runs on a lot of those third and shorts, but I know we got that outside zone that got stopped. That was unfortunate. The guy batted the ball down on one of the third downs, and then a lot of the third downs, and I know we were bad on third down in the game, but, 4 or 5 of the third downs were like 3rd and 13 plus, so it's going to be hard to convert those. So statistically, when you want to look at it, it doesn't look good on paper, but, those are tough situations in 3rd and longs. We got to keep ourselves out of 3rd and longs.
Right. So do you see running the ball as being, key to, staying out of those third and long situations, obviously, and then just getting into the right looks in the run game? Like, how much did you see that, like, pre-snap and then, after the ball snapped? Like, how did you feel about the looks and things y'all were getting?
The looks were fine. We were just getting beat. They played harder than us. It was simple as that. They played harder than us in the run game. Pass game obviously was good. We put up a lot of numbers in the pass game, but, you want to have a run game as well. And I know Coach Beamer said, everybody knew we didn't have the run game we wanted to have. So going forward, we're going to have to, need that a little bit.
Yeah, I think in his first quarter, maybe halftime interview he gave on the broadcast, he mentioned, hey, Mario had the 40-yarder on the first drive, right? Mm-hmm. But other than that, maybe I think it was like 2.3 yards a carry or whatever. So what have y'all already heard some messaging? Because you mentioned you didn't feel like y'all played hard enough in the run game as opposed to Jacksonville State. Like, have y'all already kind of corrected, if that's the right word, that issue and, like, seen that on tape and talked about that?
Yep. We talked about it. We went over it, watched the film on Sunday, and, we got to clean that up. Simple as that. We're in the right looks. We just got to execute them, in live situations.
So we were talking earlier about, man, just the receiving core. You haven't had Juice for most of the season. And there have been several games the AB's either being out or limited. Xavier Gett obviously looked like himself in this game, but he was banged up, against Missouri. He was banged up against A&M. But then the offensive line, right? And even against Jacksonville State, y'all got Vershawn back. You got Cason Henry back. But then you had Ja'Kai go down. You had Cason go down. I mean, what's that been like just watching that? Like, just guys going down on the O-line so much.
Yeah, man, it's unfortunate, obviously not ideal, for a team to have. I think we've had 10 or 11, 12 O-linemen go down this whole year. So it's definitely not, how we want to draw it up. But, the guys keep working hard, and it's a next man up mentality. So guys just got to be ready, and we got to play as one.
Let's go with a big picture question here before, we get back to the game. It just kind of popped in my head. But when it comes to how y'all are administering the offense, obviously Dowell's up in the box. Y'all are getting signals down to the field. But you and I talked before the season about, how y'all weren't doing bands this year and everything like that. But how have you felt about how the offense has been administered as far as getting the plays in, you being able to communicate them, being able to change things at the line? How's all that going?
I've loved it.
Yeah.
In every single game, home, away, I've loved what we've done. I feel like Dowell has called great games, and, sometimes we just don't execute it as high as we can. He'll he'll tell you himself, he's had a few calls throughout the year he wants back. I mean, every coach has that.
Sure.
Same with players. We want plays back as well, but I feel like he has us in the right spot most of the time. We just got to execute. Can't have one guy or two guys make a mistake and 9 guys doing the right thing, 10 guys doing the right thing.
Right.
We got to play 11-man football, and, that's key for us.
Y'all had some really interesting, personnel usages during the game with all the running backs on the field. Tell us, without giving too much away, like the genesis of all that. I know Beamer said it was about getting some of your best guys on the field, but what did you think about those particular packages with so many backs on the field? Yeah,
they were a bright spot of the game. Those guys learned whole new positions, switching around, with different personnel groups. Obviously, with Trey out, we needed our best guys on the field. That was our goal, get our 11 best players on the field. And I feel like, the running backs did a great job. They didn't have any mental errors. They were in the right spots, blocked well. They did a great job.
Now, I'm going to ask you about a few of those players in the game individually as we continue looking back on Jacksonville State, and then looking forward to 3 more home games in Williams-Brice Stadium this season. Back on the other side, more of Spencer Rattler.
Schroeder's going, the best and fastest hookers in town.
It's the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks, 107.5 The Game.
With Spencer Rattler here on the Garnet Trust Hour. Appreciate him joining us once again on the program. Thanks to you for being with us as well. Looking back at the Jacksonville State game, Gamecocks getting a home win over Jacksonville State, go 3-6 on the season. And looking back at the game, Spencer, one guy I wanted to ask you about, several guys actually I wanted to ask you about. So Juju McDowell got a little bit more run in this game, and we were talking in the first segment about some of the interesting usages that Dow Loggins had for those running backs, and Juju seemed to be an asset in the passing game and in the run game on Saturday.
Yeah, no, Juju's a great weapon for us. I feel like we could use him even more. Finish this year out. He's a guy that can catch the ball. He runs hard. He's a smart player, high IQ guy, and yeah, he does a great job out of the backfield and helped us a lot in that game.
Trey Knox has done so much at tight end, especially in the last several weeks. It seems like he's really come on and become more comfortable. Unfortunately, couldn't go in this game, and that prompted some of, different personnel packages like you were just going over, Spencer. But Josh Simon played the whole game, and he had a really good game too. Give us your thoughts on how you've seen Josh progress and then what he did on Saturday.
Yeah, Josh is another weapon. Really great athlete. He's picked it up a lot, towards the end of this year, and he had a great game this past game. I missed him on a wheel route that he could have had more yards on. It was unfortunate I threw it low. That's on me, but he had a really good game. He's tough in the run game, blocks well, and he can go out and catch the ball as well.
Yeah, he seems kind of when he catches the ball, it seems like he's got violence on his mind a little bit. You look at the Florida game, he ran the guy over. Pretty good, with the ball in his hands after the catch, for sure.
No doubt.
All right, so one of the things that, another storyline in this game, you went over 10,000 passing yards for your career. Congratulations, by the way. I know you mentioned, you addressed this a little bit after the game on Saturday, but how did that make you feel just to be able to eclipse that mark and kind of hit that milestone?
Feels awesome. I mean, a lot of hard work put in throughout my career so far, in college, and, it kind of just happened. So it was cool. The announcer told me before the game, you need 262 yards to get to 10,000. I was like, great. Hopefully you don't jinx me, but, we did it, and, it's an amazing thing, and, proud of myself, proud of the team, and just got to finish out.
How many passing yards you have in high school? You remember? Total.
Like 11 something. It was the Arizona State record all time. And then some kid from Yuma, I think, beat it this past year.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is he going somewhere or playing somewhere now? Do you know?
I don't think so. Smaller school out there, but
they
threw the ball around a lot.
Throwing a lot,
and
apparently.
Congrats to him for beating my record.
That's pretty awesome. So Xavier Legette was back, full go, it appears. We were listening to him earlier, some of his audio from after the game, and he said he felt like himself again, and he looked like himself, man. Tell me about that. So there are a couple deep balls to him. One of them, I felt like, I don't know, the turf monster got him on the one, because I felt like when I saw him catch it, I'm like, that's a touchdown. So the turf monster got him. Slipped on that one, but still hauled it in. But the second one, was a great play. I mean, I was actually sitting up high on Saturday, so I kind of had the all 22, and I just saw him steamrolling across. What did you see on that play?
Just like you said, he's rolling. Once he gets behind him, nobody's catching him, so I just got to give him a good ball, and he'll go do the rest. So he did a great job.
Yeah, he's really been something. You've been around a lot of good receivers. I mean, you played with some absolute guys at Oklahoma, right? You played with some guys here with, him, with Juice. I know you keep up with a lot of guys that are in the NFL now, big-time guys in college. Xavier seems, is he as good as anybody you've seen when he's at his best?
Yeah, athletically, when he's at his best, he's like a one-on-one guy.
Yeah.
That size and speed and, I can just go up and get the ball. He's a special talent for sure.
Yeah, there's been a lot of questions lately on, where can he go in the draft? And I got a text from somebody with some, NFL connections during the game, and they're like, this guy's a second, third rounder easy. Mike can move up more, and they're like, I wonder what he'll run at the combine. I was like, I think he'll run pretty well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably going to run sub 4.4 at the combine, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
At 6'2", 225 or something. Mm-hmm. So he's probably going to help himself, a lot more.
He's made a lot of money this year.
He has made a lot of money. He's made a lot of money. All right, so back to the game. What did you think of Stone's pick six?
It was awesome. For him to make a big-time play like that, it's tough playing defense, banged up. I know he's not fully healthy like, nobody is on defense.
Sure, yeah.
In those tough positions, linebacker. So for him to make a big-time play like that and seal the game for us, I was proud of him. I texted him after the game. I was like, I'm proud of you, my captain, because he was the captain that week. And,
right.
I'm cool with Stone, so, I like to play around with him. But, yeah, it was a big-time play.
That was. So what were you thinking on that drive? Honestly, Coach Beamer said, hey, they drove down the field faster than we wanted them to. And obviously you don't want them to drive down there at all. But were you at that point, are you more engaged in kind of watching the action? Or at that point when they've driven down, I think they were at the 17-yard line, are you all right, we're about to go back on the field? Because there's going to be a field goal or a touchdown or something is about to happen.
Yeah, at that point of the game, I was thinking, okay, we had the play dialed up that we wanted to run to get back out there and go win the game. So my mind was kind of locked in on that next drive. I was like, man, it's time to have a clutch drive and get a game-winning drive, So I was kind of locked in on that. And then watching the play, I was like, oh, no, this could be this is a touchdown. I thought it was wide open, and then Stone made a great play, read it, jumped it, and after that I was like, yep, that's game.
So y'all already had your next play.
Yeah, we were already, ready to get something dialed up and go down there and score.
Okay. So Coach Beamer got asked about something the other night in terms of, I was asking you earlier about, changing things at the line. I know Coach Logan said that you had a lot of freedom coming into the year, but how much have you been doing that? I feel like I've seen some as far as, getting into a right look, changing the direction of a play, something like that. Have you been doing a good bit of that this year?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here and there. All game plans are different.
Sure.
Sometimes some games you go and you barely got to do it.
Right.
Some games you got to do it a few times, but, it's not overly too much. A lot of the looks he gets us in is good, and you just got to go through your progression and make the play. But, yeah, obviously free to do whatever, and it's just all game plans are different.
Right. I know that, one of the things you were excited about when Dowell came in here was he obviously has an NFL background of being, 17 years, I think he spent in the league. And bringing, NFL concepts plus some stuff that you like to do that we saw, whether it was last year, Oklahoma, whatever, some stuff from Arkansas that worked well, that fit the personnel. But do you feel like this year has prepared you even more to take the next step to go to the NFL?
No doubt.
Yeah.
Just being around him, I feel, totally confident in that next step. Obviously got to finish out this year strong, but, what we've done offensively, quarterback play, everything this year, I feel like I've taken a huge step,
yeah.
In my play, and I'm happy with that. Obviously, few games you want back, but you're going to have a few, not as clean games as you want, throughout a long season. But I feel like overall the quarterback play and our offense as a whole has been, much better than last year.
You don't seem like you're looking ahead at all. You got NFL future ahead of you. got the draft, all that stuff, but, like, you seem pretty dialed into these last 3 games, like, not thinking about that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, to get there, you want to finish out, even stronger to, my focus, like you said, you got 3 more home games, 3 more opportunities at home. Couldn't ask for more. I mean, not a lot of teams get to finish out all their last 4 games at home, so it's awesome for us. And, my focus is just week by week, not look too far ahead. That's been my focus all year, and I think it's been helping me a lot.
How do you mentioned good vibes after the game and, like, leading up to the game, the week of practice, the vibes being good and all that, but how have you felt about just the psyche of this team, knowing that obviously there's been some disappointing moments, right? There's been some hurt locker rooms after some of these games, but do you feel like this is a team that's still, from, like, a psychological standpoint, like, still engaged, still ready to go play these last 3?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we pride ourselves on is, not giving up, not quitting, not throwing the towel in. I feel like even in these losses, we haven't done that.
Sure.
We're fighting till the very last second. And yeah, guys want to do well, finish out the season well, for the team, for themselves. So, like I said, you got to keep the vibes high, because if you tuck your head down and get all negative about it, we'll lose all 3 of these games if we do that. So, that's not what we want, not what this fan base wants. We don't want to let anybody down. So, we got to play for each other. And I feel like, getting that win, getting that confidence going, it's going to help us.
Yeah, I mean, I've said a lot that it's a good thing. Like, I understand, the fan experience and, like, the ups and downs and everything. But I've always said, like, just players look at it just differently than fans, right? Because if it is too much of, like, an emotional roller coaster, like, you're not going to be in a very good mental state to go try to win the next game, right? Like, if y'all are hanging your hat about beating Jacksonville State, it's going to be hard to go out and beat Vandy next week, right?
Yeah. I mean, every week is hard to win. We got to prepare at a high level no matter who we play every single week, and have to have a positive mindset and a great game plan and a great week of practice. And even if you have a great week of practice, we've had great weeks of practice and went out and lose. So you can't go out there expecting anything. You got to go out there and literally go play by play. So that's our mindset.
Have you had a bad week of practice and then won a game? Like, I've heard of that.
I feel like all the wins this year, we've had good weeks of practice.
Yeah. But, like, in the past ever?
In the past, yeah, you could have a bad week and go out there and play amazing. I mean, but usually if you have a horrible week of practice, it's just sloppy. You're not going to have a good game, and I feel like in some of these losses, we haven't had our best weeks of practice, on either side of the ball. And, in these wins, we've had good practices, and we just, like I said, these 3 weeks, we got to have amazing practices.
Yeah. Let's talk on the other side when we come back about, I've got another young player I want to ask you specifically about, so we'll get into that. A little bit more on Jacksonville State, then we'll look forward to the next 3 games and to your future as an NFL player when that moment comes. We'll be back with more on the Garnet Trust Hour with Spencer Rattler. All right, Chris Clark back with you in studio when you're listening to the Garnet Trust Hour. For the next several minutes, I'm here with Spencer Rattler inside the Herndon Chevy studios. Appreciate him taking time out of his busy schedule to join us. All right, Spencer, I did want to ask you about another young player, and that's Nick Carver. So Nick has, to me, he's come a long way, right, since the beginning of the season. And you seem to have a lot of confidence in throwing the football to him, right? So tell us what you've seen from him from, first time you saw him on the practice field to where he is now and going into week 10.
Yeah, when Nick came in, obviously he had a lot of expectation, and I feel like, he felt that urge to, need to make stuff happen, make plays. And, I've talked to him, Dallas talked to him, just, hey, you just got to focus on your work. Don't, look too far ahead of what you want to happen, prepare, get better. He's came a long way, obviously gotten much better with his hands, with his skill in route running, his knowledge of the game. His confidence builds each and every week, which is amazing to see. I feel like the A&M game was big for him, having, 7-8 catches. He's a talented guy. Obviously in this last game, I underthrew him on that post route. And, I feel bad because, he was down on himself after that, thinking he could have made a play on it, possibly get a PI. But, I told him the next day, hey, man, I underthrew you. I got to overthrow him or put it right in stride because he's a guy that'll get up and go. So that one's on me. I'll be better with that. But, yeah, his confidence is building each and every week.
Is it like when you have a guy like Nick or XL, guys who can really run, even like AB, man, he can get up and go. I think we saw that a little bit more last year with him on being open on some deep stuff. Like, does it make it a little bit harder to not underthrow them, if that makes sense? You know what I mean? Like just seeing, all right, this is who's out there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, you want a fast guy down there so you can just pump it down there. And, I feel like our deep stuff has been pretty accurate this year. Obviously, I want a few back. But, obviously with Zay, I got a good connection with him. And Nick, obviously haven't gotten too many deep shots at him in game,
Right.
So just got to keep getting those reps with him, and they'll connect soon. But I got to just pump it down there to him, be accurate, and, we're good at deep shots.
Nick had a one-on-one there, but our team, do you feel like when you go back and watch the film, our team's pretty cognizant of him out there on the deep stuff from what you see in the coverage?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's, a lot of teams like to, kind of focus on our outside guys, not letting them beat them.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got to find different ways to get guys open, and I feel like we've done a good job with that. But, yeah, they definitely know, there's some mismatches on the outside with Zay and some speed and Nick and all these guys. So, yeah.
You have called your relationship with Dow Loggins, and I think he's done the same, like a partnership. So when y'all are going through the week, what's the flow like? Again, without giving too much away, but I don't think this question will make you give too much away. Like, what's the flow like as far as game planning, right? Is it more of, do y'all talk about specific stuff like, hey, I like this against this look? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, no, he usually puts in, a lot. He meets with the coaches throughout the week. Early on, is up there all day. And, he puts together a great plan. We go out there Tuesday, see if we like it. It's kind of like our cleanup day, but we got to have a good day on Tuesdays because that's a big competition day, a heavy workload. So if there's something I don't like on a Tuesday, like I think I told him like maybe a week or two ago, or maybe this past week, like, hey, let's take this out. I'm just not feeling it. And, he's like, hey, perfect. Like some guys love plays, some guys hate plays. It's cool because he's been around a lot of different quarterbacks so where he understands, he knows, if you're not feeling it, we're not gonna run it. So I like how he's open with that, and I get a lot of say in that, which is awesome. And I just got a lot of confidence in him as a coach.
Do you like throwing? What's your favorite throw to make on the field? Is it one of the deep balls like you threw to Xavier Legette, or is it like pumping one in there in a tight space? Like what's the best feeling for you?
A good feeling is like those two shots in the game to Zay. That's a fun throw. Obviously a one-on-one shot down the field is always fun, like a nice back shoulder or something like that. Say my favorite throw is like a perfectly placed back shoulder. Gotta get a few of those to finish the season out. Like Aaron Rodgers type, just back shoulder. You can't make a play on it. Perfect throw. You can't really beat that feeling.
Did you see the stuff? Have you had a chance to look at the stuff that Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowls put out about you? Like he made some comments during, I think it was the Missouri game, but the Gamecock football put him on social media the other day. He had some nice things to say about you and your game. Have you checked those out lately?
Yeah. No, I spoke to Jim at the SEC Media Day.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a very experienced guy in this game. Knows a lot about ball. I've got to kind of holler at him for a little bit, and hopefully, I can end up being in that Senior Bowl game. That'd be awesome. So got to finish the season out strong to get there. But yeah, I appreciate all the things these people are saying for sure.
One of the things that has really stood out to me, like in your development, has been, tucking it and running it this year. And I don't know if it's because you made fun of yourself for saying you'd run like a 12 in the 100 or whatever at one point, but was that more of like a conscious thing that you worked on coming into the year? Or has it just kind of happened?
Mm-hmm. It was definitely something I wanted to show. I know, it would help the team out. I know people on the next level wanted to see my legs a little more. I've always been able to run. I've always been able to run. It's just a matter of when I can do it, if I can do it. I just got to do it, And I feel like, there's been a few games this year, I've shown my legs pretty well. I got to, do a better job finishing out these last three, use my legs when I need to, to get us in short down situations, go score, get first down. So just being able to extend and create, that's something you want to show as a quarterback, and it definitely helps the team.
You took one hit, though, that was I can't remember which game it was, but Beamer afterwards was like, I don't know about that one. Taking that hit. Maybe A&M. I can't remember which game it was, but did y'all have any conversations about, hey, let's dial that one back a little bit? You took a shot on one of them.
Yeah, I haven't taken too many big shots this year, but, something I feel like is like a skill in my game is knowing, how to limit the impact and, kind of get down and, protect yourself and protect the ball. I feel like that's a secret talent, a lot of quarterbacks use, not to limit the impact. And, I'm not trying to run over guys, but,
right.
Like the Florida game, that first drive, when you got to lower your shoulder on somebody to set the tone, that's what you want to do, as a quarterback, to get the team going. That gets them into it and obviously gets you going and gets you in that zone. So you got to find that fine line, when you're running the ball.
No doubt. And I do think that's a little bit undervalued. Like when it's a good point that when you are getting hit or when you're about to go down, being able to feel that, being able to protect the football. Because, man, you think about it, a lot of sacks are coming when the quarterback doesn't really see the guy. Like he's coming from the blind side. You could have a lot more fumbles and really, really bad plays than we typically see.
Mm-hmm. No, that's something I feel like I've taken a huge jump on this year is just protecting the ball overall. Mm-hmm. Something, I'm happy with is, there hasn't been that many dumb interceptions. You know what I'm saying? It's just bang, bang plays, which you could live with, and then I don't think I've had any fumbles this year. And last year, I feel like I had 7, maybe 8 coming into this week. Mm-hmm. So just being able to protect the ball and be smart, make good decisions. Obviously knock on wood. But I feel like we've taken a step in that and we grinded at practice and yeah.
All right, we'll be back on the other side. One more segment here with Spencer Rattler, Gamecock football quarterback. You're listening to the Garnet Trust Hour.
It's the Garnet Trust Hour on your home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game.
All right, final segment here inside the Herndon Chevy Studios. I'm here with Gamecock football quarterback Spencer Rattler here on the Garnet Trust Hour, rolling along for one more segment. Appreciate your time, Spencer. Good to have you in here again. And I wanted to go back to something you were talking about before the break and just the turnovers. So Coach Beamer, Coach Loggins, you all talked about before the season, hey, we have got to do better, like taking care of the football as a team. Like that's everybody. And I don't have the stats in front of me, but I got to imagine y'all are doing a lot better on that front. So what do you think has been the biggest difference there?
I think just the offense. It's not as, we had a lot of moving parts last year. A lot of different stuff going on. Obviously, my first year in the SEC, my first year on the team, and I think maturing as a player, as a group. I think we're one of the best teams in the country conference of protecting the ball and not giving it away to other teams, which we were one of the worst last year, the worst in the SEC. So to flip that is big, and it's crazy because we've gone in games and have had 0 turnovers and good stats, but end up not winning the game. So it's like a weird thing, that because usually when you protect the ball, you have no turnovers, you're moving the ball, you end up winning the game. But it's been one of those years where it's just it's just funky, but we're still chopping at it and still protecting the ball.
When you left Oklahoma, you're in the transfer portal, you come to South Carolina. And I always think of it as like you knew Coach Beamer, right? But it's not like you considered South Carolina in your high school recruiting. Like it was kind of just I don't know what the right word is. Like a wild card a little bit, right? Do you see it kind of that way?
I wanted to go somewhere where, it meant something to win. Somewhere where it was the best conference. You're playing the best teams. That's going to make you better as a player, and where you can bring a team back. Last year we did a lot of great things that brought this program, back up. Yeah. And, that's what was important to me.
Yeah. And so I know obviously you would love to be sitting here in the studio with me and say, hey, we're 9-0. And we've still had some struggles that have made us better, but hey, we're undefeated. We're going to go play for an SEC title, playoff, whatever. But looking back on it, though, you're happy with the decision to come here.
Of course.
Like you made a great.
I talked to my dad, my family, God led me here somehow, some way. You know, it was in the plan, it was written, and I truly believe that. You know, it was just the feeling we had. The people here, it's just a fan base. Everything about it is just it's special. You know, no matter win or loss, you know, go out there, give 100, 110% every game, and where the ball rolls, the ball rolls.
Also, another one I was thinking of as it pertains to you is, you know, during the game, Steve Spurrier was here, and they honored some players from kind of the golden era of Gamecock athletics, 2010 to 2013. That team, you know, made an SEC title game in 2010. Then they were 33-6 over the next 3 years. And a lot of guys that made big-time plays here were, you know, back on the field. Is that going to be you, you know, once you get to the NFL? Is this kind of your home where you'll be back, engaged, doing stuff here in Columbia?
No doubt. I'll be back no matter what. This is my home away from home. I'm going to keep my spot out here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to keep my place, just to have a place out here because I'll be coming back for sure. No doubt.
All right, so as we look at these next 3 games, you got obviously Vandy, Kentucky, Clemson. Let's go big picture looking at all of them. You know, 3 teams that are all capable. Like, to me, they seem like toss-ups, right? Like, as you said, y'all have to play better. Coach Beamer said, got to play better. 3 winnable games, but 3 games that you got to play better in. So what's the emphasis, you know, going into those? Let's just take it with Vandy. I mean, just this week, y'all are off. You know, y'all are back practicing on Tuesday. What's it look like, you know, heading into that game?
It's got to be, we got to have a great week of practice, prepare at a high level, limit, you know, MEs, we call them, mental errors, you know, as a group on all sides of the ball. Just got to play fundamental, clean football. And if we do that, convert on third down, score points, defense gets stops, we're good on special teams. That's the formula for a win. So we got to obviously play better than we did versus Jacksonville State. But, yeah, we just got to play our best ball these last 3 weeks.
What could it look like if y'all could put together a complete game in all those phases that you just mentioned?
I mean, it could look really good. I mean, there's been some games where, you know, we haven't put a complete game together, but, you know, Mississippi State, Florida, games like that, offensively, I feel like we were, you know, pretty darn good. But even from those games, we got stuff to clean up. So, you know, it could be really good if we can put a full game together on all sides of the ball. But, you know, it's not easy to do. Easier said than done. So, like I said, we got to prepare at a high level and just cut it loose on Saturdays.
When you look at, since you mentioned Mississippi State and Florida, 37 points each in both of those games, and it's not like the Jacksonville State game was like a poor offensive performance, right? But, I mean, definitely things to clean up, particularly in the run game. What is the biggest like that? I think it was 2017 team here won, I think, 9 games. They beat Louisiana Tech by 1, had to have a last-minute drive, so. It is a thing, I feel like.
It's weird, you know, and you gotta expect you're gonna get your best from these teams coming in. You know, that's a big game for them. They want to embarrass us at home. You know, you gotta expect that they're gonna give you their best. So we gotta do a better job with that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so for you, last 3 games, just individually, biggest point of emphasis for you, if I ask, is what? 1 point of emphasis.
You know, just keep protecting the ball, extend drives, convert on third down and in the red zone, and the rest will take care of itself. But just keep playing my ball and keep leading, keep being a leader and giving my all.
All right, good deal. That's Spencer Rattler. Appreciate you taking some time to join me, man, with your busy schedule. It's been fun again. All right, Spencer Rattler, Gamecock football quarterback here inside the Herndon Chevy Studios on the Garnet Trust Hour.
And we want to thank Spencer Rattler for taking a little bit of his time this week to hang out with us for the Garnet Trust Hour, as Chris mentioned at the beginning of the show. I believe this is either his 3rd or 4th time, so really cool that Spencer has given us that opportunity to give some insight into what's going on with him and obviously this Gamecock football program. And, you know, we've talked about it so much this season. Spencer Rattler's done such a good job being the leader of this team. And, you know, here's a guy that came into South Carolina probably expecting to be here for, you know, a year, get himself back in the right place, have a good season in 2022, then be off to the NFL. That obviously didn't happen, and ends up coming back for another year, and he's made the most of it. You know, you hate that, you know, maybe all the parts and pieces around him haven't been what they needed to be from a health standpoint, for one, but also a performance standpoint, you know, from the defense and everything like that. But regardless, Spencer Rattler's gone out there. He's given it 110%. each and every game, and again has made the best out of what he's had around him. And obviously, we're excited to see what he's going to be able to do in these last 3 weeks of the regular season, hopefully playing for a bowl game as well, and then ultimately what he has the opportunities to do at the next level, because as we've talked about plenty of times, he's done a good job of getting back into the good graces of those scouts at the NFL level and so many other people that are projecting to be one of those mid-round picks and to have a career at the next level. So excited for that. If you missed any of that conversation that Chris did have with Spencer Rattler, we'll have that up for you shortly on the 107.5 The Game podcasting page. Thank you, as always, to the Garnet Trust for supporting the Garnet Trust Hour and allowing us to have great guests like Spencer Rattler here in the Herndon Chevrolet studios. That'll do it for the Garnet Trust Hour. Coming up next, it is the Gamecock Central Takeover Hour presented by Firehouse Subs. Myself, Wes, and Chris break down what we heard from Spencer Rattler in the last hour and put a little bit of a bow on Jacksonville State before we turn our attention to Vanderbilt this upcoming weekend. That's all coming up right here on The Game.